I'm not gonna lie to you. I kind of felt like maybe some of my comments I made yesterday may have went too far, and maybe were a little bit too hostile in a way that I didn't mean to be hostile until I saw the email or the Facebook post from Texas Mayor Tim Boyd. I'd like to read some of it to you because it's beautiful. First of all, fuck Texas. Okay, you crackers, you want small government. You want there to be really no real government. Um, every 8 years or so, you're screaming about seceding from the union, which you can have your own opinion. You can distrust the government, but what Texas does is really nasty. You don't believe in climate change, so fuck Texas overall. Okay, I don't feel bad for them. And I've talked about it with COVID, how I don't like the idea of the left becoming a wet blanket for the right. So the right wing can do crazy, fucked up shit, and then when they die or they get hurt because of it, then we're supposed to feel bad for them. If we don't feel bad for them, they're like, see, this is the mean spiriteds of the left. Like, we tell you to wear masks and stuff, and the Republicans that die of COVID, it's like, we told you this. We warned you. All right. So let's read some of this. Colorado City, Texas. What I really want to read this to you is to give you an idea of this, man. You don't have to understand everything about climate change. I've talked about this often that you don't have to agree on every bit of the schedule of climate change, of when it will happen. Will it be in 10 years or 50 years or 100 years? What you need to understand is that we're precautionary, and the right is not. The right, in essence, is simply angry because we're getting in the way. You have to understand that the right wing, when you argue with a conservative, you're not arguing with somebody on facts and reasons and logic. You're arguing with someone who just wants to maintain their way of life. That's what Trump was. And that, whether it be policing, the drug war, whatever, you're not arguing with someone that's playing fair. You're just not. That's not what's going on. And if you don't understand that, you're kind of wasting your time. I know it. I know it sounds bad for me to have that attitude that they should just go fuck themselves. But we're going to have more emergencies. We're already in one due to COVID. And when I watch conservatives at every corner, every avenue, every juncture, downplay science, dismiss experts, dismiss doctors, I get really fucking frustrated to see this and to understand this is the future of their politics. So I don't feel bad for them. Now, I'm not up here, COVID is supposed to be gonna kill off all white people. I didn't believe that. No. But I do believe that you're in a long emergency. You're in a long emergency. And that these things will continue. That this is just, this is the reality now. And they're gonna be our biggest enemy as far as responses to these things. I don't believe that you can be a socialist and that makes you automatically reject survivalism. In fact, I feel like that's a part of me being a survivalist, is me recognizing that, hey, we know things ain't get bad. We understand these are reactionary bigots. These are people who are opposed to any kind of change. And so nothing's going to change. Things going to get worse. And so you better go ahead and have you some oatmeal and some rice stored up. I don't think that for a socialist I don't think that's hard to do. I don't think that's a bridge too far. That's all right. 24 hours have passed since the deadly Arctic blast knocked that power across the state. Many lack running water, forcing them to haul in heavy buckets of snow every time they need to flush their toilets. Residents turned to a community Facebook group to ask whether a small town, it's Colorado, Texas, was going to open a warming shelter while other wondered if firefighters could do a job without water. The mayor says, no one owes you or your family anything. I'm sick and tired of people looking for a damn handout. He says, I mean, it tests the limits of the embrace of self-sufficiency and rugged individualism in Texas. That's how I feel about it. I mean, let's understand something. Because people are going to forget. That's one thing I've learned in my life. People are going to forget. They're going to forget about COVID. They forgot about Katrina. They forgot about Sandy. People will forget. People are going to go right back to doing what they were doing before. Nothing won't change. Things won't change. So if it takes somebody being out of power for a couple of days to make them realize that, hey, we should be keeping our government up to standard. We should be keeping, public service up to standard. Then damn it, that's what it takes. And if it takes this to show you the values of public officials like this mayor, then I'm happy to see it. I really don't feel for these people. I'm not 12 years old. I know what Texas is. I've been in Texas many times. I've been all over Texas. These people won't believe in any government. You talk to these guys, they don't believe in any government. So, state's decision to state federal oversight by operating its own power grid is one of the main reasons that close to 3.3 million residents in Texas will lack electricity by early Wednesday morning. Outages in every other hard-hit state should dwindle to less than 1/10 of that size. As of late Tuesday, grid operators still couldn't predict when the lights might turn on. Advocates are warning that Texas' poorest and more vulnerable residents were at risk of freezing to death. At least 10 deaths in Texas have been linked to the winter storm since Monday. The mayor rejected the notion that municipal governments and utility companies have the obligation to provide paying customers with necessities like heat and running water. He said the city and county, along with power providers or any other service, owes you nothing. Step up and come up with a game plan. Those out running water could either deal with or think outside the box to survive and supply water to your family. Only the strong will survive and weak will perish. And he says, he resigned, he says he should use better wording. No, we shouldn't have. I don't like that. I don't like that. He's telling you where he stands, which is that, see, people don't understand something. When we talk about climate change and all this, and like plastics, microplastics in the air and in the water and all that, if we're right, conservatives aren't going to just say we're right. Like, they're going to go down with the ship. We saw that with Trump. Like, you either believe in science or you don't. These people, they believe lies. They believe things out of cruelty. Their politics is based on cruelty. Their politics is based on making the rich richer. Their politics will never be about making your life better. It never was. It never will be. He's telling you, even in the 0 hour, when the power's out, power's been out for days, he's telling you, we don't owe you shit. Between Abilene, Midland, and Texas, Odessa, excuse me. Let's see. He categorized camped out at frigid homes, wait for this as lazy. Folks, God has given us the tools to support ourselves in time like this. Sadly, they were a product of a socialist government. Look, I like this. I do. I like this. Because I live in a dumbed down society. Most folks don't know who Karl Marx is. They never read Capital. They don't want to. Don't know who Trotsky is. Don't know who Fred Engels was. Who the fuck are them men? Old white men died over 100 years ago. Don't know who those men are. But when you're constantly screaming about socialism and Marxism to people who are simply asking for some bottles of water, some candles, some blankets, and you're screaming about them being socialists and screaming about this and that and the other, you're bringing them to my side. You are helping me. Because your system is not working. Your system, at a very basic level, is failing the people. Now, I'm not saying that other states wouldn't have problems similar in the future. I'm not saying it's no guarantee, but what I am saying is his response is indicative of really the mindset of a lot of right wingers until they themselves are suffering. That's why I don't feel bad for Texas. That's why. Those are ugly, nasty, regressive people, and they've been fighting for that for a very long time. They're fighting for the right to be homophobic. They're fighting for the right to be racist. So Texas is. Even trying to access the emergency preparation guide on Colorado City's official webpage led to an error message. His comments were taken out of context and not applied to the elderly. They continue to double down. This will be like Hitler killing people. And like one guy is like, but you said this. He said, well, I was only talking about the Jews. I wasn't talking about the Romanis. Like, that's still bad. And the fact that you don't understand that's bad, that's a problem. I mean, that's a real problem, right? You don't even realize what you said on here. You don't even understand what you said to these people in that moment of. See, I keep saying I'm a black man. I ain't got no power. I was raised that when you get in a position to do things, you have to act a certain kind of way. It doesn't mean I wouldn't be angry. It doesn't mean I wouldn't say things that I might regret down the road. But you have to act legitimate. You have to act a certain kind of way. And you have to recognize that when you're in politics, you're making history every day. Not just in what you do, it's in what you say. It's in what topics you bring attention to. It's who you bring forward at your press conferences. All those things. And what Trump and Pence and even what this mayor has done, what we had is over the last 4 years, we've really had a crash course in free market capitalism. Because you never really had this before. You never really had the free market just running wild and Trump saying, well, every rule one of them make, you got to destroy 2 rules. You never really had this before. You never really had this. And it's failing. Everything they did is failing. What was going on in Texas is failing. Complete failure. It's not my opinion. Pick up a newspaper. Well, take a look around. It's manifest. And that's tragic to see America go this direction. But it's kind of necessary for places like Texas. So he says, he's speaking in his capacity of private citizen that already resigned position as mayor. Wife had been fired from her job over things he said. Family was facing arrest, harassment, and death threats. It's amazing to me that he doesn't think he deserves those things. It's also amazing to me that he's doing what conservatives do, which is saying like, yeah, I did this, but technically it's okay. Like, that's amazing to me that he doesn't understand, like, when millions of people are out of work, well, not in his case, hundreds of thousands of people out of work and struggling, and he comes out and says, like, you guys deserve it, you suck, you're losers, you're socialists. Like, you don't think there's a payback to that, white man? You don't, like, you think you can disrespect anybody you want to and they're not going to step out on your ass? See, I don't understand some of these crackers. I don't understand how they think. They think just say whatever they want, anybody they want, and that there's just, like, nobody's going to ever, like, buck at them. So what the fuck you don't expect that. That someone's going to be like, hey, man, my wife just died of this. My brother's in a coma or some shit. There's people that wouldn't like this. Anyway, I won't share those messages, those names. I feel they know who they are. I hope if they see they will retract things they have said. They're not sure if he resigned before or after he wrote it. But he still is his mayor. And he served in the role, at least we said last week. I guess for me, I don't agree with that. The conservatives do that. Because Trump did that. Where they'd be like, well, I'm technically not the mayor anymore as of 6 months ago. I think that I'm like the Germans. The field marshal is never off duty. What I mean by that is just because you're not mayor anymore doesn't mean your words don't have power, and that you could still use your platform. You still have a platform to do good, to speak up for injustice, against injustice, and to help the oppressed, to help, the downtrodden. The fact that you think that the minute you get out of office, the minute you take your badge off, the minute you step out of the office, that you can say whatever you want, I don't understand that. I don't. You know what I mean? Like I guess because I'm a socialist, I know that if we ever got power, you'd be setting a precedent for the next turnaround. Like, I know as a black man I have no power. I know we don't have any power in this country. Not really. Not overwhelmingly we don't. And so I understand, like, even if I wasn't going to be mayor no more, I would still hold myself to that level. He doesn't. He doesn't. Same thing with Trump and others. They think that it's okay if I say this. If it's out of context. No, it's not. You said what you meant. You meant what you said. And what you said was it was rude, it was nasty, and it was low. A lot of people are hurting right now. A lot of folks are suffering. And it's funny because I talk about third world countries and, the Mexicans and other immigrants and stuff. How does it feel, bitch? How does it feel, white man? Tell me how it feel, white man. You ain't got no running water. How I feel you got no power in your house. How I feel? I don't feel bad for Texas. Because I done known too many Texans that were like that. That would make comments like that about unwashed people and you should turn the Middle East into a parking lot. And I don't feel bad for those people. Fucking cowboys living 100 years in the past. Well, I guess you learned a lesson, didn't you? You learned a lesson this week, didn't you? I say all the time, I have no problem with folks who want to go live off in the woods. I have no problem with that. None. If you want to take your racism and all that and go live off in the woods, I have no problem with that. But you don't get to dictate reality or anything else. Thanks for listening.